From Southern California, welcome to the Hour of Power. Today, motivational speaker recently seen on ABC's Secret Millionaire, James Malinchak. Also a special message from Bobby Schuller. Discover America's television church as the face and voice of positive Christianity to the world.
Today, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the Hour of Power a very sought-after motivational speaker in America, Mr. James Malinchak. Will you welcome? James, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for having me.
James, hi. Thank you so much. Now, you are one of these kind of classic all-American stories. You came from a steel mill kind of town, and out of nothing, I mean, it sounds like my grandpa and a lot of these other stories, you have been very successful in business. You've made all sorts of money and really thrived. And now, because of this sort of, ashes to riches kind of story, you've been sought after as a motivational speaker, an author, a writer. Tell us about your story and how that happened, how you went from sort of zero to hero.
Well, we didn't have much growing up. I grew up in a small steel mill town outside of Pittsburgh called Monessen, Pennsylvania. And Mom was a lunch mother at the school serving lunches, and Dad worked in the steel mill for over 30 years. So it wasn't like we came from anything. Yeah. But I think growing up in a small town, you start to develop certain characteristics, especially one of trying to do more and be better. And that was instilled within me. And I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I was a C student, which is pretty much see your way through school. I mean, that was me. I played sports, and I didn't really care much for school, to be honest.
Sure.
But I always tried to be the best I could be. And I think that's something that everybody can do, no matter where you're from, if you're tall or short, rich or poor, young or old, male or female. I've always wanted to be the best I could be and do whatever I could to reach to a higher level. And for me, it was to get out of the steel mill town in order to try to achieve certain goals and dreams. So I took a basketball scholarship to the University of Cincinnati. And my coach ended up getting fired, and I transferred and graduated from University of Hawaii at Hilo. And
I'm sorry to hear about that. It must have been a very difficult...
It was tough. It was tough. But I started out of school a career as a stockbroker, because that was my dream, what I always wanted to do. And a funny thing happened. I won some awards, and I started getting asked to speak. And I was like, what do you want me to speak about? I had no idea. And I just started talking and doing these motivational talks to help other folks grow their business. And one led to two, and two led to three, and so on. And next thing you know, I'm quitting my job and doing the speaking full time because I felt really fulfilled. When someone would come up to me and say, I was having a bad day, and I didn't think I could make it. And something you said, helped me through this. And, you just can't put a price on that.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to do that the rest of my life.
Well, great. And so you kind of became well known because of all of these things. And then recently, a lot of our viewers may recognize you from ABC's show, The Secret Millionaire. How did that happen? And tell us about that story.
Yeah, God works in great ways, right? Yeah. I never auditioned for the show. I didn't go after them.
What was the show about?
Well, first of all, the show is about taking quote-unquote millionaires out of their element and putting them into situations they're not used to living in, going through an entire week, looking for amazing, beautiful, spirited people who are making a difference in the lives of others. And at the end of the week, reveal my identity, open up my checkbook, and wrote them checks for over $100,000.
Oh, great.
Now, I got to tell you, Bobby, I lived on $44.66 for the week.
Yeah.
In a ghetto area in Gary, Indiana. I had no credit cards, no cell phone, no money, no computer, nothing. I started to say, woe is me. Why? I mean, how am I going to live like this? Yeah. And then I think it was a God thing that happened and spoke to me, because I quickly realized it wasn't about me. Stay focused on the mission of what you're here to do. It's to find these amazing heroes and recognize them for the contributions they're doing day to day that nobody ever hears about, and they don't care about recognition, but that they deserve to be recognized. So for me, it was a God thing. I really believe God spoke to me and said, focus on why you're here, and it's not about you and quitting and going home, and just suck it up and make it happen.
Yeah, great. So it sounds like you even brought your philosophy of life even into that moment, just trying to be the best regardless of circumstance and situation.
I did, yeah. And I have to tell you, though, meeting these people, I thought I was going to be some guy going on a show, meeting beautiful people, writing them checks, and, then I'd go home. But I can tell you, I got way more out of what I learned from these amazing, beautiful angels, I call them angels, than I believe they got out of the money I gave them. Because they taught me what sacrifice really is. They taught me about what it means to really care and just give and help people for no other reason than to help people. I mean, we're cleaning up trash, and I asked one of these gentlemen that I was cleaning trash up with one day. He was a person just got out of prison for over 20 years. And I said, why do you do this? And because he's making $10 an hour and only getting paid 2 hours, but working all day long.
Sure.
And he pointed to this man and woman sitting on a swing who were just swinging. He said, for them, so that one day they can sit on that swing and don't have to see this trash out here. And I thought, man, that's what sacrifice and giving is all about, and serving.
And so, I mean, one of the messages that I'm hearing from you is I mean, you're a successful guy, but I mean, the message of our faith is really that, I mean, money comes, money goes, circumstances change, but in the midst of all of that, something is more important about living. And now you have a real personal faith in Christ and a godly life. How has faith worked into your own worldview?
Well, the greatest gift God ever gave me was when my sister Vicki was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and the doctor said she was not going to live more than a couple of months, that I had that time to be with my sister before she passed away. A lot of people don't have that time. You know, they lose somebody, you know, in an instant, and they don't have that closure and that time to say bye, or, you know, how much they love them and care about them. And I believe that having that time was a blessing and a greatest gift I've ever had in my entire life. And when I experienced that, it changed my whole spirit. It changed my whole life. And I realized this. We didn't come into this world with anything, and we ain't leaving with anything. You know, we might have a fancy car and a nice house, and that's fine for a while. We're renting space on earth, but we ain't taking it with us when we leave. You know, so if you are not a good person and you don't try to help people and lift people up and serve and give back, and what else you got? And
so your faith then and that experience that you had with your sister has led you to create a certain number of new projects and humanitarian things. Tell us about your projects and what you're doing.
Well, I've written several books, and I'm writing 4 more right now.
Great.
And I want to take this millionaire mindset philosophy, because millionaire is more about money. I believe it's about also giving and serving and giving back, and that's what I learned being on the show Secret Millionaire. It was all about serving. And I don't see a lot of millionaire-type books out there that actually talk about that. So I actually just completed one and would love to give free away to anybody that's watching if they want to go to a special website, millionairefreebook.com.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, James. From your experience of just kind of coming from nothing to you know, leading a successful life, and then that rootedness in your faith, I mean, what would you say to these people that really are stuck? You know, they're stuck. What would you say to them?
I think a few things. First thing, you've got to master a certain skill. You have to have a specialty. You got to really get good at something in order to earn a higher income. But let me tell you this. I believe faith moves mountains, right? You've got to keep the faith. I was down and out in my life at one point, and you know, God works in mysterious ways. I turned the television on one day, and I see this TV show, Hour of Power, by your grandfather, Dr. Schuller.
I know him.
You know him. And he was interviewing who happens to be a friend of mine now that I did not know at the time, Mark Victor Hansen, who created a great book series with Jack Canfield called Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Sure, yeah.
And they were talking about challenges and overcoming things and not quitting. And I'm down and out, and I'm really sad about my sister, and things weren't working well for me financially and professionally. And your grandfather said something, and it's been one of my favorite quotes my entire life. Tough times never last, tough people do. And so here I am down and out, you know, and feeling sorry for myself. I hear him say that quote. He's interviewing this guy, Mark Victor Hansen, with this chicken soup for the soul thing. And I literally, after the show, went right to the bookstore, got the book, started reading the book, started getting inspired. And to make a long story short, I've now co-authored the book, Chicken Soup for the College Soul, with Jack and Mark. They're dear friends of mine. They've spoken for me at my seminars. And what makes this so special is now I'm blessed to be here and maybe saying one thing that somebody out there might be watching right now, and maybe I'm in some small way, you and I serving them and picking them up, just like Mark and your grandfather picked me up when I was in a bad situation.
Let's hope the Hour of Power can continue to do it for 50, 60 more years.
Oh,
Amen.
and many more after that.
Okay,
The
great.
world needs the Hour of Power.
Oh, thanks, James. We're so glad you came, and we're so happy
Thank
to
you
hear
for
your
having
story. It's been such a blessing.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a hand to James Malinchak.